so close and fast that Steve flew through the MiG's debris, lightly damaging the skin of his own left wing. The first MiG was now on the tail of Steve's Dash 4, so he maneuvered his Phantom behind the MiG, which gave up the chase and dove. Steve stayed on him, launched a Sparrow, and took him out. He had killed 2 bandits in less than a minute and a half. Steve's 5th MiG-21 kill was in the skies near Hanoi on 28 August 1972, when his flight encountered a pair of MiGs heading back to base. The MiGs were 5,000 to 8,000 feet above the Phantoms. From 4 miles out, Steve fired his first 2 Sparrows, trying to get the MiGs to maneuver, which would slow them down. That didn't work. Missiles 3 and 4 were a different story.
I'm now supersonic, doing about 1.2 Mach. They're still subsonic. And I got a radar lock on, fired 2 missiles. The first one appeared to go by on the right side of the MiG, and he broke left, which solved the problem for the 4th missile.
With that kill, Steve became the Air Force's first and only pilot ace of the Vietnam War. He remains the country's last pilot ace. We're in fast company today. Astronauts whose spacecraft flew to the moon at 5,000 kilometers an hour, a jet fighter ace who flew in combat at Mach speeds. Even in this group, Bob Gilliland's accomplishments shine. He has logged more Mach 2 and Mach 3 experimental flight test time than any other pilot. Bob's career of flying fast got off to a modest start. He soloed in 1949 in a T-6 Texan, which had a top speed of 208 miles an hour. But things quickly got a lot faster. In the Korean War, Bob flew the F-84 Thunderjet. That's a fighter bomber with a cruising speed of 475 miles an hour that was capable of hitting 622 miles an hour. In 1960, Bob joined Lockheed, working as a test pilot at the company's famous secret Skunk Works, it was called, in California. There, he flew the F-104 Starfighter, the first combat aircraft capable of sustained Mach 2 flight. It was this plane, the highly secret Lockheed SR-71 Blackbird, that would seal Bob's place in aviation history. On 22 December 1964, Bob climbed into the cockpit of the Blackbird and took it up for its very first flight. The SR-71 roared skyward with maximum afterburner thrust. A legendary pilot was taking the first ever flight in a legendary airplane. Bob took the Blackbird to 50,000 feet and hit Mach 1, an amazing start for an amazing airplane. Although the Blackbird maiden flight was 45 years ago and the plane was retired by the Air Force in 1998, to this day, the SR-71 holds the world's record for the fastest and highest flying, air-breathing manned aircraft. SR-71s have flown at nearly 2,200 miles an hour at an altitude of 85,000 feet. It's flown coast to coast in under 2 hours and from New York to London in 1 hour, 54 minutes, 56 seconds, an average speed of Mach 2.68. As the SR-71 program grew, Bob continued to be the first pilot to fly each Blackbird that became operational, a job that gave him that world record of logging more experimental supersonic flight test time above Mach 2 and Mach 3 than any other pilot. Over his career, Bob has logged 6,500 hours of flight time.